What's up, everybody? And I'm in Technologies. Today, I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on how to build a to-do app using React hooks. So, what I have here is just a regular React project that's already set up with an app function, a div by the name of app, and two H1 and H2 tags, and it's just rendering out some text. So, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that extra text that I have there. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to import the use state hook from the React library. So I'm going to say import React and import use state from React. And then I'm going to create a new function called to do. And I'm going to destructure the to do property off of this function. And now I'm going to set up my to-dos. So I'm going to say to-dos and set to-dos, and I'm going to set that equal to an object with an array of objects actually. And we're going to say text, and we're going to say learn node. We'll add another one, and we'll say text add learn C++. I'll add one more, and I'll say text learn AWS. All right. All right. So that's my to do that I've set up. I'm going to make sure I add my semicolon to close that. And now I have my to do. So what do I need to do next? Well, next I need to actually render out my to dos in a list. And to do that, I'm going to use the map function. So what I'm going to do next is create a div now. So now that we have that, we're going to say we want to return a div with the class name to do. And it's just going to take in to do text. All right. Now, what I want to do is go to my app. And what I want to do is move this hook into my app because that's where I'm going to actually be rendering this list here. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to move this to my app component. All right, so it's there now. And next, what I want to do next is say we need to render our to-dos inside a list. So I'm going to create another div, which is going to be called to-do list. And what we're going to do here is we're going to map over all of our to-dos. So we're going to say to-dos.map. And it's going to take in a to-do and an index. And this is arrow function syntax. And what we're going to do now is say to do and then we want to add some properties. So we have a key property, which we want to assign to our index. We have an index. 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 We want to also call index and we want to also say to do equals to do. All right. So I see one of my to-dos rendered, learn AWS. So the other ones haven't rendered yet. All right. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to say text. Oops. So let's do it like this. So I'm just creating my to-dos in separate objects. So it's an array of objects, and we have to separate them if we want to get every single to-do. So we're going to say text, learn node, and we're going to say text, learn C. Okay. So we have a list here. Now we want to actually be able to add new to-dos and remove to-dos. And to do that, we're going to have two functions, add to-do function and a remove to-do function. So let's go ahead and create that now. So now we're going to say add to-do. I'm going to take in text, and then it's going to return some new to-dos. Then we're using the spread operator to combine whatever to-dos we already have with the new to-do that we're passing in. All right. And then we're going to say, after we do that, we want to say set to-dos to new to-dos. And again, actually, this needs to go inside of our app because our to-dos is actually set after this line, and it won't work if we do it up here. So let's move this down to right here. And yeah, everything should be working now. We want to do the same thing with remove to-dos. So we're going to say const remove to-do is equal to index, and we want to say const new to-dos equals to-dos, and we want to say new to-dos dot splice index 1, and then we want to do the same thing we did up there, const set to-dos, new to-dos. All right. And we also want to say, hey, we completed some of our tasks now. So we can do that with a complete to-do function. So we'll say const complete to-do equals index. And we want to say const new to-dos equals to-dos. And then we want to say new to-dos index is completed equals true. And if that's the case, then we want to say set to-dos to new to-dos. All right, so we've created our functions for remove to-dos, add to-dos, complete to-dos. Now we need to actually have a form where people can actually add to-dos manually by typing in something. And so to do that, we're just going to create a form, right? We're going to create a form. So let's do that now. And let's say we'll call it function to do form. And it's going to take in an add to do because that's what we're doing when we submit a new to do. And we just want to use some hooks here to actually create these values. So we'll say const value and set value equals React use state, and we're going to set it to a default value of an empty string. Right? See, y'all gonna have to stop calling me. All right, and now we're going to say we need a function that's going to handle this. So we'll say handle submit, and we're going to set that equal to an event, and it's going to then take a couple arguments. So we're going to say we want to prevent the default event. So e.prevent default. We want to say if we don't have a value, we just return. And we say add to do value and set our value. Okay. All right, so we did that. And now inside of our to-do form, we actually want to return something now. So we're going to say, let's close that. And let's say return form on submit equals handle submit. And we're going to create our input. And we want to add some properties to our input. So we'll say type equal text. And we'll say the class name of this is going to be input. And we'll say our value needs to be value. And we'll say when we change our text, we want to actually call our event handler and say event set our value to whatever the value is. And make sure you close your input form. And let's say close form. All right, so let's see, what's the issue? Oops, I meant to say ultimate. Okay, it needs to have a parent element. Okay, so we'll just say the class name equals form. And then let's just wrap this in a div like that. Unexpected token. Really good. Okay. So we can actually do it like this. So let's say we're gonna leave our div there. Let's remove this form on submit and just get rid of that for now. All right. So I'm just waiting on it to reload now. All right. So inside of our to-do list, we're going to add those functions that we just created. So we want to add some things onto our to-do. And let's say we want to add complete to-do equals complete to-do. And we want to say remove to-do equals remove to-do. Then we want to actually import our form now. So we'll say after I remove to do, we'll say to do form. And we'll say add to do equals add to do. Okay, it's saying app nothing was returned from render. This usually means a return statement is missing, or to render null means that. So hold on. Let's change this to do form. For it to be capital. The return statement's right here, so I'm not sure why that's happening. All right, so let's start again.